Thank you so much for stopping by the Mac and Wise show. I want to give a lovely shout out to my co-host and my beautiful wife, Sabine. Thank you so much, baby. I also want to thank my sponsors, Platinum Apparel, Yesterday's Unisex Salon, and Bang Music Group. I want to say a special shout out to my son, Adam Wise, who's my engineer, and my producer, Rab Ford. We have a beautiful guest today, Melina. She's going to come on with us in a few minutes. Hello, my name is James Wise, and welcome to Mac and Wise Collection. If fashion is your passion, make this your home. Come with me. Yeah. All new summer arrivals. Whenever you subscribe to Patreon, you'll get a 10% discount on all merchandise. And please tune in to our new TV channel, Roku. When we launch it, if you go there, you'll get a 25% discount. Thank you so much for stopping by. Peace. Thank you so much, Melina.
No
Today we're going to
problem.
get into
Welcome, Melina,
to a show Wade versus Roe.
Yeah.
Decision that the Constitution overturned. I mean, the Supreme Court overturned the Constitution, and I just want some thoughts on women and how they feel about that situation. You can take us with your thoughts, Melina.
Okay. Well, first off, thanks for having me. On the Roe versus Wade, it was a big shock because there's a lot of people that is pro-choice. However, my viewpoint, where do I begin? I've ne- I could never, I could not say that I was a fan of what happened. However, I'm not for abortion. I and Rab, you and I both know we actually did extensive work on research on Planned Parenthood.
Okay. So let me give
And
you a pointer. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Melina. Can you address the moral side of it, like the moral or religious view, which would be the view that the pro pro life advocates? That's their view. Can you discuss that? What is your
okay,
position on the moral side of the abortion issue?
morally on my side, because I'm under holiness. The scripture says, "From the foundation of the world, that it was so that we should be holy."
Right.
Um, I am against abortion because abortion, is viewed as murder.
Okay.
Um, Also, a lot of people don't know that Margaret Sanger was indeed a eugenicist. A eugenicist is a person that deems people of another race or culture or even uh, another background inferior based on their genotype not being white.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This with Roe versus Wade, this case itself, a lot of people don't know is that the woman that actually had this case that is centered around, she lied on Black men, saying that she was raped and she had to get an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised that what people might not have noticed is that when new evidence found out that she did lie and they had to bring that and then the case was overturned, a lot of people didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What I would like to see happen is if that woman is still alive, her brought back to court and be tried again, because that's lying under oath and that is against the law, and that's usually a first to third degree felony.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. So what happened with that is with her case, a political wave
Right.
went with that, right? As you notice, it wasn't so much about what she did because the kids didn't even discuss that. I don't know if you noticed. They didn't talk
Um,
about the lies or the things she made up. It took a political turn where people came out and said, pro-abortion right, pro-choice. So it took a different turn. So yeah, that would be something to do, to bring her back to court so that like what she did would not be followed by other people, other women per se. So which brings us to the political side of that, where people are looking to, they feel, most women feel that their rights are being taken away. You know, basically, like just what I do in my life with my body is my business, right? So to speak. That's what they said. And if you don't want me to do that, then you are denying me my right or choice.
Mhm.
I have a right to choose. So how do you feel about that? Like women,
I believe you
which
have
is
a
a good
right to
argument.
live your life. However, you got to be mindful because you're not abortion. You might kill the fetus, but you're not killing what comes afterward. You're not looking at the fact that over 30,000 women has died on those tables, and if you don't be careful, you can be dead
Yes.
too. What
Yeah.
I have a
you're not looking at the sterilization practices of the abortion clinics. A lot of people don't know. A lot of women have caught diseases, not even from a sexual partner, but because the medical, you know,
Inferior,
Medical
it,
staff.
yeah, the medical staff not
inferior
properly
equipment.
cleaning.
I don't mean to interrupt, but that's because of the inferior equipment they call infections. And is that what you're implying?
Yeah, infection control. It's a lot. And then prior to even where I'm at now, I worked in the medical field,
Okay.
and believe me when I tell you, I've actually seen what goes into an abortion kit. You would want to cry.
Wow.
I
Mm.
saw the stirrups.
question for the women.
Mhm.
I got a
I
question for
saw.
you, Melina.
Okay,
Rab, want to interject for 1 second, Melina?
A question for both of y'all, actually, as both of y'all women. As a woman, right?
right.
Now that, like, years ago, everybody, male, female, been fooled with this Roe versus Wade because no one knew the real ingredients, the real
The circumstances
Yeah,
behind it and why
exactly.
did it occur and all of
A
that.
lot of people didn't even know there was a white woman,
Right.
hmm
right?
It
So
kind of gives you a
now,
mind.
now with all
Gotta
of this
turn that
coming
off,
out,
Rab.
now with all of this coming out, tell me as a woman, how do y'all feel about that? Uh, that Roe versus Wade was supposed to have been some kind of milestone in the beginning, but now we find out there was a bunch of hogwash. It was a setup. It was accusation against black men. But now that we know that it's not, it wasn't true, and the rest of that, so wouldn't Roe the victory in the beginning have been now null and void because it wasn't real no victory because now we know that the black men didn't do what they did. So how does that leave that woman for that an abortion and just now that's actually murder with the baby because you just killed the baby and lied for the reasons why you wanted an abortion. So what does that how does that feel as a woman just
But
coming out?
the subject on the table was not so much that she was raped. It wasn't. The issue was that she had the right to abort the child. That's what the
Mhm.
debate was about. So yeah, that's that makes sense. So the debate was the right of the woman to choose. The
Mhm.
right woman to choose to have an abortion, or not. So that's what it was about. So
Mhm.
the decision was made that she could not, right? With Roe versus Wade, that
Okay.
she could not. So yeah, but I understand your point though.
So when did
So how do you?
it become feasible? In the beginning, they said that she couldn't have it, but then the Supreme Court allowed her to have it. So what happened after that when people found out it was a lie after years passed by? So what do y'all stand on it now? They in the Supreme Court justice in 70 um
Three.
they actually granted her the right for an abortion,
Okay.
and the reason why they granted her that right is because, like you said, she manipulated the situation and the system, and she actually got the Supreme Court to give the abortion. And the Constitution, until recently, June 24th, 2022, when it was overturned by the Supreme Court, then all the activists and all the women that were fighting for the right to have an abortion, and this is where we at right now. This is the stage we at right now.
Did she have the abortion?
The lady,
I mean, that was my point. That she didn't have the abortion.
but they granted her
But
the
she
right
got
to.
granted
They
the right.
granted her
Okay.
the right to have the abortion. It just was overturned June 24th, 2022.
Right.
So we're Melina. Let me ask you a question. So
Okay.
I asked you a question earlier, and you gave her a total beautiful answer because you said you don't believe in abortion. So,
Right.
so what do you say to the women that have the what y'all do still have the authority in certain states to be able to do with your body as you will? What do you say
Right,
to the
because-
women? Because they only allowed it in certain states, and then certain states
Mhm.
you actually still can have the abortion up to 6 weeks. Yeah, that was the that I got
Mhm.
from the study. You still can have it up to 6 weeks. There was a recent case where a little girl got raped in Ohio, and there was all in the
She was
news.
10 years old, and the man that
Yeah.
raped her, they wouldn't even let her go out of state. She tried to escape, and they denied her because she was from another state that didn't allow it. I remember that case very well.
Right.
Rightfully so, this should have went to court.
Mhm.
This man, because I watched it on Indisputable, shout out to Indisputable on TYT, the Young Turks,
Mhm.
and Dr. Rashad Ritchie. This man had a series of molestations under his name.
Oh my God.
My question to that is, to answer your question, like I said, I'm not for abortion, but this is a 10-year-old child.
Right.
Where's her parents?
Right.
Where are the parents? Where's the family? Where's the guardian? Why was she able, like, what happened there? Secondly, like I said, I'm not for abortions, but a procedure or something should have been done to protect this young lady's health, or to protect this young lady. Why isn't this man tried? Why this man wasn't brought into custody? Or if this man, where is he at, and why is he not already a case file as to which he should be tried? Because this is rape.
Yes.
Okay. So
This is the first degree rape.
let me interject if I can. He was brought to justice.
Okay.
He has been charged
Mhm.
with that rape, and also it was found out, from my understanding,
Mhm.
that he also had relations with the mother. So, from my understanding from the court papers that I've seen, that he was brought to justice, he was charged with rape, and that he also had a relations with the mother, and that
Then
is
the mother
how
should be brought in. The mother should be brought in too, because you can't tell me this wasn't going on before she even turned 10.
Right,
This-
right, right.
Nobody can convince me that. Nobody can convince me that.
But you know,
split
Melina.
emotions on this.
Mhm.
Rab wants to interject. He has a few things
I
to
got
say.
kind of like split emotions
Okay.
because, like, I'm looking at it from one perspective, right? The women definitely have a right, and then you look
Yeah.
at this incest thing that's going on,
A little louder.
and then when you're having
More of a
when
mic.
you're having a child born through incest, that's a lot of drama, a lot of
It
pain.
is.
Imagine your father being your brother, or
I'm not familiar with that case, but the
your
man was
grandfather being your
related. I'm
father
sorry
and
to
stuff.
interrupt. The man was related to the family.
No,
No,
he
I'm
wasn't
pretty-
related to
he
the
just
family.
knew them.
He's talking about a different subject now.
Oh, okay.
He's saying that he understands about
Incest.
women, and the fact that they need about, but that it abortion. But what about the woman who got raped by her father,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
incest?
Incest.
How do women feel about that pro-life and keeping the baby when a woman was tormented or raped by her father. And
Now get this. There's a girl
you got to
went to
talk a little
college.
louder.
There's a girl went to college with me and Melina. It's an ex-county college. Her father was having sexual relationship with her for years. She had like 3 or 4 kids by her
my
father.
God. That's
She ended up
I
writing a book
remember
and
her.
stuff about it.
Oh, wow.
You remember the sister
Oh, my
Melina?
God. That's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up writing a book about it. She started doing public speaking about it, but her head was messed up for a lot
That's
of
for
years.
sure.
And how your father going to be the grandfather and the father of the child? And psychologically, so I can kind of understand. So I'm kind of like a split. I'm kind of split. Like, but what I think women should be fed up enough to the point to where this might sound funny, but I'm serious. Women should grab their aprons, go to White House lawn and burn them. The reason why I say aprons because
Have like a
apparently
boycott.
this decision makes me feel like they think women don't have no sex. They don't think the woman's good for staying in the kitchen, cooking, throwing on the
Kitchen in the
apron,
bedroom.
being
Yep.
barefoot and having babies. Because that's what you might as well say if you're going to
So,
take away her right
what?
for pro-choice and
Oh, you're saying, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, take
so-
away the right.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, because that's crazy. A woman
Okay.
so that's why I'm kind of split. Because on one point you got this, but on the other point you take away the so it's kind of that's why I say though.
That's why the issue goes so deep though, Rap, because when you give that analogy, right, then you got to understand the torment that a person has if they rape. Like the Constitution right now and the way the Supreme Court just amended those rights, right? The way a woman has to suffer bearing a child if somebody like took advantage of them, right? So that's a mental abuse. And then on top of that, you actually to carry something where when you, like I was telling in the last episode, when you carrying a fetus, a woman has to be comforted, she has to be nurtured, she has to have all of these, she has to have all these things in order for her really to feel good, because she can actually die. They always say you can die on that table giving birth. So
Yeah.
that's why they.
Yes, you can. And recently,
my daughter's
That's
mother
true.
almost died having her
Yeah, that's
blood
crazy.
pressure go all about the roof.
So now you asking. So the thing about that is now you asking.
can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead, Melina. It's a beautiful
Sure.
thing. Go ahead.
Mhm.
I wanted to add to that because you said, with you saying that women can die on those tables giving birth, it's been recently the number of childbirth and death rate has went up, especially among Black women. And
It's always
and just recently a doctor from Brazil just got finally indicted because he was caught molesting a woman while she was on the table.
Oh yeah, they just had it on you. I seen them.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a topic,
I didn't see
hot
that.
topic right now too.
What was it? Performing an abortion, or what was he doing
No.
on the table? I didn't see
She
the video.
More diabolical than that, he took out his junk and he was basically like orally raping her while she was having a C-section. And also, I don't know if you've seen, but prior to that, it was a young man, his fiance died on the birthing table, and they didn't even let him in when they first when she first came in the hospital into the maternity area where she was giving birth. And they're not releasing really documents as to what happened or anything, and he's fighting in court right now.
Oh my God. This is too much.
That's what I mean by trauma, right? So when Melina, when a woman is carrying a baby, right, and you need all of that nourishment, you need that love, you need for somebody to
you need every form of support possible, from
right. And so
physical, psychological to financial.
Yeah.
It's so much.
So this is why I say
what the.
This is why I say that it's kind of one way and the other way. And the reason why I say that is because you want this person to carry something inside of them after they've been molested, raped, or tormented, and say, well, it's something inside of you that never did anything to you, but the stress and the mental state that you in, sometimes it's not even going to allow the baby, even if it's born, to have that nourishment,
fully
because
receptive of what
if you stressed out during that whole pregnancy, believe it or not, that baby is gonna have probably some psychological things going on, because the blood flows through the woman into the child all day, right? And if they stressed
if
out,
that
then the
child
baby gonna be
survives,
stressed
it's
out.
been if that child survives, because it's been a lot of even miscarriage cases due to the stress of the situation with this happening with Roe versus Wade. And if you've seen lately, the rape cases, the child trafficking cases have skyrocketed. The human trafficking cases have skyrocketed with the Roe versus Wade thing. Like I said, being a believer myself, I'm not for abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a pro-choicer. Yes, I believe a woman should have a right to how she, what happens to her body. However, you got to be mindful of what you're letting into your body as a woman, especially. Now, the cases with rape and that, honestly, there's a lot of extremely sick people in this world.
Yes, it is.
And
Question,
rightfully so.
Melina.
Mhm.
You ready for this? Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Y'all said that a woman should have a right to put anything she wants in her body, right?
Well, that's what pro-choice people say.
Okay, so don't we have a right not to have to go to the store for y'all if we don't want to? And y'all talk about y'all want pickles
I
and ice cream.
knew something like
Y'all
this.
pregnant, y'all want pickles. Do we got a right not to go through the store? That's what I
No,
want
you
to know.
don't.
Just like y'all feel like y'all have a right not to go to the store for pickles and ice cream, y'all had all the right to buy the condoms too, so we wouldn't end up in this situation. So by all means, look at both sides of the coin.
You have all the right to buy the condom too. So we
Oh,
don't
all right, so good. I'm glad you mentioned that, sister. I'm glad you mentioned that, right? Because this is the thing. Now, all right, I understand. Now, this is the part that I really understand. Now, if a woman is something happened to her, like the little girl that got raped 10 years old, or
Right.
infestation with the father, that's cool, right? But if you lay down with somebody and you know that there's a potential for you to have a baby, then it is the utmost responsibility for you and that man to sit there and have a talk. Well, listen, where's your condom at? Or he has the right to say, yo, are you protecting yourself? Did you put?
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100% with that particular scenario. That's on both parties, and rightfully so. It's on both parties to get checked every 6 months to a year.
But let's face it. I'm sorry, Melina. Let's face it. Adult, especially in the Black community, unfortunately, grown-ups, I should say grown-ups as opposed to kids, they have sexual intercourse without protection. That happens all the time. You see baby mamas here running over. That's because it's unprotected sex. All the sexually transmitted diseases are higher in the Black community. Why? Unprotected sex. How many baby mamas we have out there?
I hate to burst your bubble on that. I want to burst your bubble on that one, because if Rab didn't tell you I'm a straight shooter, if Rab didn't tell you I am a very straight shooter. Before you say it's just, with the African American community, be mindful. Also, a lot of these diseases didn't even come into America until with travel ban and with traveling. So a lot of times too, a lot of these diseases travel from out of the country into the country. A lot of these diseases as well, these infections are lab made.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm not debating that. I'm just saying.
For example, syphilis, Rab.
What I'm saying
we did work on this too, Rab. We did extensive research. Me and Rab, we
I'm listening now. Now you're right about the syphilis and all that. You're right about the laboratories and man-made.
Oh yeah, no. What I'm saying
with the
is
Tuskegee experiment.
How we get the disease. That's what I'm saying. The disease is out there, no matter how it got here. We don't know.
You ever heard of a clinical trial? You've heard of clinical trials, right?
I know about clinical. That's actually my field. I'm a scientist. Yeah, I know about clinical trial.
Yes. Believe it or
what
not.
I'm saying to you is, we were talking about unprotected sex. We were on the subject of protecting sex and stuff. What I'm saying is, unprotected sex should be something that we consider, especially in the Black community. People, men and women, of course, equally do not.
I think it's about. You
can't say that men and women
being responsible, whether no matter what nationality you are. I think it's about being. I think it's about being responsible, and I think it's about having the education and having all people of any race educate themselves
Exactly.
about prevention.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. I like to
I'm
ask
saying
Adam
though,
a
I'm
question.
black too. I'm part of the black
Every
community. The truth of the matter is, Melina, the statistics shows that these diseases were higher in the black community. I'm telling you. I mean, it's
But did you ever
unfortunate.
look as to why they're higher in the black community? Yes, they are higher, but did you look at why they're higher, or what, or was it a stigma point? Because what you don't know is that even with us having that medical background, us both working, and then you also being educated as a scientist as well, it's so much that it's not even told to
I
you.
know, but okay,
That
we're talking about. I know it's a lot of layers to this subject. It really is to this subject. It's a lot of things involved. You mentioned
yes,
clinical trial earlier.
we have a duty and a high responsibility on to protect ourselves as
Of
well.
course, that's
But
all I'm
then
saying. Because when you look at
understandable.
statistics, it's higher than black people. Why? I mean, I'm telling you, like I know people, older men that you turn around, they have this baby, this young girl pregnant. They're running around.
Hey,
That's
wait a
what
minute.
it is.
I'm a black man.
It is. Hey,
Time out. Time out.
unfortunately, I'm black
Time
too.
out.
I'm just saying.
Time
Like
out.
people,
Time
these
out.
statistics are not being made up. But
Time out.
anyway, let's not. I'm
She's
sorry. Let's not
time out.
sidetrack on the subject. We're talking about abortion.
Oh no, it still revolves around abortion because even with you saying with it's not just pregnancy, it's STDs as well. And then you got to remember with the brother
Exactly.
mentioning the fetuses, a lot of those fetuses, like with the scenario about the father raping the child being the father and the grandfather, you don't know if that father or grandfather has disease because back in grandpa's heyday, he could have whomever, whenever, and nobody know. And then you got to remember, it's up to us as both the health professional and the health specialist and the health educator to have the meetings and bring it to our community on what's going on. If only 5 people show up, that's 5 lives being saved. If
Well,
it's
Yes.
so you were
if,
talking about James was mentioning like the trauma that a mother goes through, like in the case of the incest, for instance, or rape.
yes,
It's the trauma, for this woman to bring to even have that fetus grow in her womb. It's crazy. 'Cause like you said, that she can abort that child because mentally she's so disturbed. You know what I mean? Like traumatized.
right, right,
However, that if she gets the help that she needs, and we talked about that last time in the last segment, the proper help, be serious help, psychological help, will help that young mother to be at a place where she can have a healthy pregnancy. It is possible.
All things are
Mhm.
possible through
Yes.
all
Through
things are
Christ that
possible through
strengthens,
Christ our God.
absolutely.
Amen.
Um,
You
but
know.
but the reality of it is
Mhm.
um, a person that actually been hurt like that.
Yes.
I'm not going to say that it's impossible because all things are possible,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah,
a 80% chance that she's going to have psychological and mental issues carrying a
absolutely.
long term.
Yeah.
That's 9 months that she
We're
got,
gonna
and
double check on that.
she has to reflect. I mean, that's a lot of counseling. That's a lot of counseling.
Yeah.
It's a lot of counseling, but
Right.
see, like I mentioned,
Melina, hold on
yes,
for a minute. Now that he mentioned counseling, I just want to make mention that
Mhm.
um, Rutgers Hospital
yeah, oh
was at
yeah.
90 Bergen Street.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mm,
University on the corner of University and William Street and downtown,
mm,
the Department of Health, and
yes,
also the Shante Baraka Center on Clinton Avenue, right where what's that block that they cut down that they stop people from going on again?
yeah, because the 13 go passive.
But anyway, they have help centers for women
Okay,
there.
help center.
That's why I wanted to make sure that we get this out since
Oh,
we're
okay.
talking about like
Counseling and help
right,
and mental.
the
Yes,
places where they can
absolutely.
go,
Yes,
And
go
yes.
right there north.
right,
Okay.
Which is women that's probably
Exactly.
listening to this that might
Yeah,
have the
that's
same
good.
issues with abortion.
Mhm.
Feel
Right.
free, sisters, to go down to these places. You ask for Sister Kishiure, or they got a lot of women and men down there designed to help
Support.
you. Right, support in this need.
Right.
There's a support group.
And we're not going to talk about this not at the Mac and Wise show. Mac and Wise always believe in giving you a little answer to some of the problems if we can, and resource
Getting us
information.
support.
Right.
And,
So
and it has
this
to
That
be
is-
done
resource,
that way.
that resource information goes a big ocean, because once you get the resources, then you can get the support. And thank you, Rab, for
Yes,
mentioning
very-
that,
yes.
because
I'm glad, 'cause
whoever's
I was
listening
about
to
to-
that, they might want to.
Okay.
They might want to go down there if they need that support. I'm sorry, Melina. Go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
So
Thank you.
I was actually about to say, within that, with like what you were saying about the fetus, is that, you know, with the support, and I'm glad Rab interjected and put that out there. We do have those resources, and like I was saying to Sabine, is that with being a scientist, also with us having health educators as well as health professionals in that field, it's also up to us to bring it to them just as much as them saying, oh, they could come to us. They a lot, like Rav said, the resource, sometimes you got to go out to them. Sometimes you got to find out who has the halls and all that. Me and Rav, we've had those talks. Prior to this, I did COVID screening. I'm, you know, not to go off topic, but unless you really put that best foot forward and really put your feet to the ground, that, you know, nobody would never know. And see, we are in a place where, we're in a place where sources is getting so limited, because not only with being stripped, with the rights being stripped, the health is being stripped, because a lot of those rights are attached to the help that, you know, is being stripped from us.
Absolutely.
So, but we got to get to a place where, if the government can't do it, we already have the licensure, we already have the education, we know the people that are the business owners that has the spaces. We got to be that for ourselves. We have to come together for ourselves. It's too many cases where you hear that, oh, I didn't know where this or that was, or who was I to get in contact with. And how many people since the pandemic have been put out of place of work, whether it's cardiology, OBGYN, or whatever, that now we can get direct access to. People are going into business and having offices for themselves.
Right.
We got to be that for each other.
Absolutely.
And with this Roe versus Wade thing, like I said, I'm not for abortion. I'm a believer in, and furthermore, we're doing the research on what abortion stem from and what it's about. I'm not for it. And then with the case itself being that it was a lie on Black men, and how this thing has resurfaced, and really she already had the power. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. It's not so much the choice, it's the power to make the choice whether or not to do it. She already had it. She just wanted to bring it to a forefront. And once again, it was Black men involved.
Yeah, I got that a little bit from Professor earlier. Yeah, she did get the right to
But we have to now come together for each other. And a lot of women have died on those abortion tables, just as much as the fetus, because a certain nerve was hit, or it was an artery connected to the baby within the woman's body that within a matter of seconds bled so much that she bled to death on that table.
Yeah, that's speaking mostly most of those failed abortions, so to speak, performed, but you know, people that were not medically qualified to perform those procedures for the most part too. You know, a lot of this has been happening, yes.
Not only were they not qualified, a lot of them had the licensure, but racism is so deeply enrooted. That's even where this abortion came from. A lot of people don't know. Abortion started out with Margaret Sanger being utterly racist, and a eugenicist believing that from the genotype, the Black man and the Black woman was inferior. And
I don't mean to interject, because we had a subject last 2 weeks ago. We had Cheryl on, and that statement you saying is true. That's how they actually started aborting people and doing STEM research.
Yeah,
and
because of our Planned Parenthood.
right, and how they actually the government manipulated this in order for to get different parts of people's body and people that couldn't was dying that was rich and they wanted other people parts of their body and they legalized the abortion in order for them to get those parts. So there's a lot of layers and onions that can get peeled back when you start talking about the reason why it's done. But I'm sorry to interject. Go ahead, Melina.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you brought that up. And to further on into it, with this going on now, like we're in a point in an era and an age where the truth more and more day by day, the truth is coming out more and more. And even with the Planned Parenthood and the abortion and the Roe versus Wade, with the truth coming out, a lot of people don't know that with Margaret Sanger, she actually pointed out, and it's in her book, because Rab even showed me this was, back when we were at Essex, in her book, she said, we did not want the world to know that we're trying to eliminate Negro people.
Mm.
She had in her book that she went to, get this, a woman's Klan meeting by her own admission. This is in Margaret Sanger's book. And she was so enthralled by it and felt moved and brought the abortion up to some of women Klan that were nurses.
Mm.
So this stems, like you said, it's a lot of layers.
There's a lot of layers. When we talk about abortion, then you go into mental health, and then you go into abuse. You go into incest. You go into a woman's right to actually do what she want to do with her body. And so the conversation goes on and on. Like we can have part 1, part 2, part 3, because it's a never-ending cycle. And the reality of it is at the end of the day, no matter what everybody's opinion is, the person that's carrying that seed, if you start taking away people's rights, and reversing constitutions, and no matter whether it was a lie or was the truth, then you start taking away our ability to have our freedom.
That's right.
So that's another part of that too, right? When you start taking away people's right to actually do things that with their own body, then you're taking away their rights and you're taking on the Constitution. So, like I said, it's a lot of layers to it. But I didn't mean to interject. Go ahead, Melina.
No, because you're raising valid points, and this is a lot of truth to it. And a lot of people don't realize as well is that like I said, earlier mentioned, when you take the rights away, you take the resources away. When you take the resources away, you got a whole damage and effect. And then I had to, always reedify that, my stance, because I don't want people to say, not that I really care what people think of me, because I'm my own person, my own woman, and my only judge is God. However,
right, absolutely, I concur.
But we got to look at the big picture and not so much the frame, because the frame just holds, the frame holds it, where the picture said, it's worth 1,000 words. We got to look at the damage and effects of this, and then we got to look at the fact that this thing has stemmed so far that with this blowing out now, like I said, this case needs to be retried again, because with her lying, that's lying under oath. I don't know if these brothers are still alive, but
we can do some research and find out. That's easy. That.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is like front page news. But we're gonna because we can go on. We'll probably be here all night long, because we can make part 2 or part 3, like I said, because there's so many onions, and then the more information we get, the more able we can give it to the people, and just in case they need places to go, if they going through that situation. So we're gonna close it out. We're gonna give you, Sabine, my wife, you give one more analogy of what you think, and then Melina, and then we're gonna close it out for the night. And then we probably can do this a part 2 or a part 3. at another
That would be
time.
great.
Or we could have your two guests next week come,
Yeah.
Melina and Jaleesa. Try to have them here,
Okay,
and
that sounds
me,
good.
me and beloved the side chair. We be your hype man, and let see what the women have to say on this, because I know they want the audience want a fresh woman's approach on World versus Wade,
Yes,
right?
another woman,
So
yes.
this what Mr. Wise and stuff gonna give to y'all next week. All right,
That'd be
y'all.
great.
All right, so go ahead. Give
subject-
y'all last.
Yeah, so okay, on the subject of abortion, the right to choose. Well, we need to understand that the bottom line is this: we still have the right to choose. In my opinion, we do.
Mhm.
Okay, how? Because at the end of the day, we get to elect our our people that the people that govern us or make the law. We get to do that.
Mm.
So we choose them into office. We vote them into office, right? So that
Mhm.
they make a decision. They're the one that is going to nominate those judges. So in the end, we get to do that. So what I want to say in this segment is, please let's exercise our civic duty. Let's vote. Simple as that. And of course, we still have those rights. We're still going to fight. This is going to be continuous. It's always something to fight for or against, So that's what I had to say.
Okay,
And
the
God
thing
bless
about that
you.
is Supreme Court justices, the people that actually control the law,
Right.
they are in office for the rest of their life.
Exactly.
And what happened was, and Trump knew this, and this is what he did. He actually voted the last 3 justices of Supreme Court people in.
Right.
And when they were voted in, they said they wouldn't change
Mm-hmm.
what was already in the Constitution. But when they got in there, they changed
They
it.
changed.
So, in order for it to change, the people have to have a strong stance,
Yeah.
and that's the only way. Because right now, as it stands, those Supreme Court justices, they in there for the rest of their life. They don't get. They ain't like the president that can get. They ain't like the
Yeah,
president
I
that
know.
can only get 2 terms, or governor that can only get 2 terms. When they are in office, they are in office for the rest of their life.
They can be made to
So
retire,
so yeah, they retire when they're like 99.
though. Yeah.
But we know that they don't even know they implement the law, right? The Constitution is they don't vote them in the law. They don't make the law. They make what is called jurisprudence, case law, right? The Supreme Court decision become case law, right?
Mhm.
But the case doesn't directly go to the Supreme Court, though.
Mhm.
It goes to a first court and then before it gets there. So those people
The
underneath
district courts.
the district court, and if when you
Well,
appeal,
who
it
has the
so
the
those
final?
judges,
Well, who has the final decision on whether that becomes law? The Supreme Court.
yeah,
The Supreme Court is the one that overturned the law.
I understand. But
So they have the jurisdiction to overturn any law that they want to turn when it comes to a vote.
I understand.
Because of
And we have the right as the people. We have the right as the people that when that law dictates to us, we have a right to stand against it.
The
we
protest.
still do that too.
The
Yes.
protest.
Not
Well,
even,
the
not even just
Constitution
pro.
says- the
Yeah.
Constitution says that people have a right to
Yes.
assemble
And
in
gas.
dissatisfaction
And
against the government at any
anytime.
time.
And that's what
Anytime,
that's what's
anything.
been happening.
And not
That's
even
why
just
you
the
had all the
protest.
rallies, all the protests,
That was
even the
my
people
point.
going to the White House
Right.
to make sure that their voice was heard.
Mhm.
But in essence, if they don't want to change it, you have to keep going and keep going. So in the meantime, the law still sticks.
Or we
You
have to,
understand what I'm saying,
or we have to
Melina?
really do it to come.
Exactly. But see, also, where I want to point out as well, we as the people also have a right to boycott. For an example,
Well,
if
we
we
got further
find,
rights than that. We can
yes,
reestablish
we
a whole
do.
government. We can overthrow the government literally under the
Yes, we
Constitution.
do.
Order to the people.
We can We can overthrow the government and reestablish a more stable government for the people. This is constitutional law.
Yep.
So
I know it might be constitutional law,
it may
but
not be no feasible reality.
We're not starting a revolution.
but we know the Constitution says
No, we
that.
got to revolutionize. I disagree with you. I'm sorry, Sabine. I can't agree with you on that one. I was always raised, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything and you're going to succumb to anything. So
a revolution where we're calling people to come out in the street.
Yeah, we ain't provoking nobody to violence, y'all.
Right.
Don't
We're not
misinterpret
starting
Yeah.
something
what I'm
right
saying.
now, to say,
I understand.
yeah.
Okay.
We gotta have that disclaimer.
But we are provoking people to change
Yeah.
Yes,
for-
it's tough.
for
We-
progression.
Yeah, we
Not for
Exactly.
depression.
we can gather. You always, you can gather long as it's in a peaceful gathering and protest anything that the Constitution or anything
That's
that
right.
the government puts up. That is our right to do that. And
And it started, I believe, by educating ourselves with people who govern us. You know, a lot of people do not want to get involved in political issues, but our lives are governed by every decision that's made over there. All the decisions,
that's a fact. That's a fact.
every day, everything we go through, like whether it's whatever we have here,
Mhm.
they make all the decisions. So we had to get involved.
Absolutely, because
You
you
know,
know
and-
something. I'm
and-
glad you said that, sweetheart. See how I said that we can go on and on because it just keeps going on and on. But the thing about it is,
Right.
what people don't realize is how they just changed the laws in order for black people to vote.
Mhm.
Right? So you see how they was
Yeah,
able
that
to
was-
change those laws in each one of those counties that Trump lost. They
Mhm.
wanted to change the laws in order for people to not be able to come gather and vote for the people that's in office that they want. So you see how that constantly
Yeah.
changes, how they constantly change the law in order for them to make
Oh,
it
yeah.
harder for us
Mhm.
to succeed.
True.
Right.
But this is
But-
happening right now under Biden's administration. And even though Biden has COVID, and the reason why I do it like that is because, like I said, we can go on that one. That's another subject.
That's
But-
another subject. See what I'm saying? Because one
Actually, yeah, we
one
better
thing,
close this
yeah,
up.
we got to close it up. One thing goes into another thing because they all go hand in hand. You know,
Right.
when
Right.
you start dealing with politics and you start dealing
Yeah.
with religion and everything, it just, I mean, we could be here all night because we go from that subject to another subject, but it'll all intertwine. It will all intertwine,
Exactly.
but it'll just be different topics of different subjects. So
right.
with that, we're going to bid our viewers good night. And Melina, it was a blessing to have you on. We're going to have you on next
It
week.
was a pleasure.
Peace, Lord
Thank you
says.
for joining us.
Joining
Thank
us.
you for having me.
Subscribe and like. Thank you so much for stopping by.
If you want to
No
Mac
problem.
wise,
Peace.
buy wise.
Yes.
Yay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.